The balance between the most common and strongest pull in the game is the half pull, which is basically what everybody is doing right now. But there is a pull that is actually better than that people are doing. We're going to talk about a pulling tactic that you can do mostly as a position 5, but it works on any core position, any support position. It's just something that you can do in the safe lane that if you can get it off, you are basically guaranteed to win the lane. And so to me, this is a legit 1000 MMR tactic just because of how few people do it and how strong it is. So in my opinion, probably the most common, the balance between the most common and strongest pull in the game is the half pull, which is basically what everybody is doing right now. That is simply where you only pull half of the creep wave, so you get a ranged creep and then a melee creep, and so that way basically the enemy position 4 has to struggle between contesting your core in the lane and contesting the camp. You essentially just completely out XP the enemies. But there is a pull that is actually better than that people are doing. And this is a pull that you can only do if the lane is really shoved out. And ideally, if you're winning the lane really hard, you can use this to secure the game, the lane a lot easier. So basically what you do is you go to the easy camp and then you wait for the 54-second window. On the dire side, you kind of lean more towards 53 seconds, so your projectile flies through and hits the camp at 54 seconds, and then you hit the hard camp and then walk the hard camp into the creep wave. And what this does is this, obviously secures a pull on the hard camp, but the cool thing is, while this secures a pull on the hard camp, it also stacks up the easy camp, and as you're running through the easy camp creeps through the hard camp, it actually blocks the hard camp. And so what you can do next is when the lane shoves out again, or, even if it's just a little bit shoved out, you can just start chain pulling the easy camp, which is stacked, and you can plow through like 3 or 4 creep waves where the enemy team is going to lose a metric shitload of XP. And the cool thing is, because the creeps are running through the hard camp, obviously when you pull the easy camp, the lane is going to come back in front of your tower, just like this. And so the worry might be, okay, what if they stack and pull the hard camp to contest you stacking and pulling the easy camp? But the pull through means that the camp can't stack because the easy camp creeps are blocking the camp for you. So that's what's really cool about this. And so the reason that people half pull is because you usually can't get a stack like this. Half pulling isn't necessarily the best thing, and that's why I said at the start that it's a balance between best and kind of like practical, because the position 4 can often contest you if you're trying to stack up the camp like this. But when you're doing this double pull through, they have to contest you when you're pulling the hard camp, and so you get a free stack. And so really the best thing that you can do in any lane is stack the easy camp and pull, because the easy camp creeps do piercing damage, and so they completely tear through creep waves, and it's really far away from their tower, which means they're very unsafe if they want to contest it. So this pull lets you do that, and it's the exact same thing on Radiant. And what we're going to do next is I want to show you this actually working in a couple of games of mine. Okay, so here we are in a oh geez, okay, let me redo that. Okay, so here we are in a game where I was playing Pudge position 5, which obviously is a very weak laning support. But because of the nature of this pull through and because of the nature of just how strong pulls are in general, I honestly think if you're good at pulling and pushing the lane and doing these kind of laning mechanics, you can win lanes with almost anything. And so here we are. I'm just kind of messing around, mostly with the intent, standing over to the left here, that they're afraid of me, like potentially hooking them, even though I'm really no threat, so that way I can get off this pull. You can see that the setup here is that the lane is shoving out, so there are all these creeps that these guys are going to have to deal with, and because of this, Nyx Assassin is going to be busy last hitting under the tower, and if Rubik does come over here to contest, well, my Nyx doesn't really want to last hit in their tower anyway. There aren't even any creeps to last hit, and so we could 2v1 the Rubik and kill him. And so that's why when the lane is shoving out like this, it is a perfect opportunity to do this pull through. And you can see this is at the minute 47 mark. So this is like literally as early as possible that you can get this pull off, because obviously you have to wait for all the camps to spawn, and then you have to do the stack and pull through on the next minute mark. So 2 minutes is the earliest timing that you can go for. I have boots, so that does make this easier. The faster move speed your hero is, the easier this is to pull off, but you can see that this is possible with melee heroes. The easy camp creeps block the hard camp. Actually, the hard camp creeps, in this case, block the hard camp. And then I pull through diagonally on Radiant. On the Dire, you have to pull through horizontally. It's kind of hard to get the diagonal pull off. I do think that you can get it. It's just a lot easier to pull horizontally because the creeps have a pretty they have a smaller leash range on the Dire side, or at least that's how it seems. And so in this situation, they come over and contest it. This is perfectly fine for us because we get the creep equilibrium back here. So my dude is going to be free farming for the next couple of minutes. But the most important thing here is not this kill on Rubik. All of it's cool. It's regular laning stuff. This camp being stacked means that the next time the lane shoves out, these guys are denied an entire creep wave. Every single time the lane shoves out, we deny them an entire creep wave. So something we can do is just intentionally push the lane and then do this. Just push, deny, and then we're going to get double the amount of XP that they are because they're going to be losing half of the creep waves. In this case, we wanted to like hook them into tower, and Nakes is a good hero at running them down in the lane. And so we were like, okay, maybe we don't want to just push in every single scenario here. We'll just chill in front of the tower and go for kills like this. But yeah, that's it. So that's the pull through on Radiant. This is as early as you can possibly do it. But in order to kind of demonstrate how good this is, I want to show you a game where I was getting completely dumpstered, and then I ended up getting this pull off, and it turned the lane around where it was just over for the enemy team. Okay, so here we are in the example of when this completely turns a lane around. And the reason that I wanted to show you this replay is because, you know how you have those days where it just feels like nothing can go right, and then, you know, you play some Dota, and then you play worse because you're just not in a good mood, and that makes your mood even worse, and it just kind of spirals, and you're just playing like trash, and you probably shouldn't keep going, but because you're playing like trash and feeling bad, you just keep going anyway. Yeah, that was one of these days for me. I was binge queuing, and I was completely throwing this lane for my team. I went Nightmare first, which is really stupid. I went for a cute rune play, and, you know, if I was playing Disciplined, if it wasn't one of these days, I would have the mentality that I normally do, which is the early bounty runes in First Blood is not worth losing lanes for. So I usually don't miss skill stuff at level 1 just for level 1 fights. But I did in this case because I'm an idiot. And so you can see that this is going terribly for us. They are harassing the crap out of us, and they almost killed the Monkey King. But luckily he had a Fairy Fire, so he's able to survive. But that's not what this is not the scenario that Monkey King likes. We're safe laners right in front of our tower. This is when the lane is supposed to be easy for us. We have a Monkey King versus a melee hero. Like, this is not supposed to be a hard lane. Bane is an extremely good laner. So once again, I just fucked this up. That's essentially what happened. But because of all of this crazy shenanigans happening, the lane was shoving out. This is the exact same scenario that we looked at in the previous replay, where we know that Beastmaster is going to be struggling and going to be dealing with this massive creep army here. But what happens, because this is a higher rated game, is that Hoodwink comes over and contests, and you will see exactly what happens if the enemy support does that and why this is such a strong pull. So once again, I do the same thing. Lane is pushing. I walk over here. I'm waiting for the 54-second mark on Radiant. Like I said, you don't have to, you know, hit it at 53 and have the projectile going at 54. It's a lot easier to do on Radiant. Pull this camp, and then Hoodwink says, hey, I'm not going to let him pull this camp. The lane's in a good spot for us. Let's keep it there. Little does he, well, I'm sure maybe he knows, maybe he doesn't matter, because he can only contest one of these things. He can either contest my stack, or he can contest me pulling this creep camp right here. And so he chooses to contest the creep camp. And because of this, I get Nightmare on him. Beastmaster is completely just sitting in his tower, not willing to help out, because there's a massive creep army, and I think that is the correct choice. I think it would be a big mistake for him to come over and help. And Hoodwink takes a ton of damage, and now she cannot contest. I think she ends up dying later because of being low like this. But the most important thing here is that the support goes in, support gets low, almost dies, sometimes they die, and then I get this pull off. And so I just want to speed up through this and show the next few minutes. So I was paying close attention to my Monkey King and making sure. I probably should have blocked this stack, by the way, but this was a bad day. I wasn't paying that much attention. But I pay a lot of attention to where my Monkey King is at in terms of under the tower. If he's struggling with CS, if I don't have a salve for him, if he's getting low, maybe I'm not gonna like pull when the creeps are right in front of our tower. I'll wait until the creeps push out again. But sometimes you can honestly just keep chain pulling if your core is perfectly comfortable CSing under tower and perfectly comfortable regenning under tower and stuff, like a Lifestealer, for example. You can just keep chain pulling and he's gonna heal off the creep wave. Monkey King has high armor as well. A Drow Ranger, maybe not so much because she's ranged and she takes a ton of damage here. But I just want to speed through this and show you what the end result of this is. Keep pulling, denying as many waves as I can, and then finally they come over and farm this. Because they come farm this, we're able to get a bunch of damage on them. And okay, here we are at the 5 minute 24 second mark. Basically, the lane has broken down. I'm going to smoke. I'm going to help mid. Laning stage is kind of over, and let's see what the verdict is. So on Bane, I'm almost level 4. Hoodwink is not even halfway through level 3. So you can see that the comparison between the two supports, and we both have 1 death, 1 assist, so that's completely even. The comparison between the two supports is that I'm higher level than the Hoodwink. And then between the Beastmaster and the Monkey King, who has 1 kill, and Monkey King has 1 kill as well, Beastmaster is about halfway through level 4, and Monkey King is level 5. So we're like half a level above them on both heroes. And I think if I had played better in the early laning phase, we would be even higher. But this is perfect for us. Like, this is exactly what you want. There's not a huge discrepancy in terms of denies. You can see it's 26 and 5 and 16 and 5, literally even in terms of denies across the cores. The only thing is I have 3 denies and the Hoodwink has 0. That's not why we're half a level of XP above them. There's no way that contributes even remotely to that. It's all about the pulls that I'm getting off and that they're not getting off because of this pull that you can do that is so goddamn broken. So I would implore you to go into your pubs if you see the opportunity to do this. If the minute mark is coming up and the lane is pushing out, every single time that you pull this off, it basically means that you have auto won the lane. And that is pretty goddamn stupid. You should really do this every time you can. Anyway, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I appreciate you, and I hope to see you in another video.